is the big one. West Bromwich Albion versus Aspire in game week 2 of the 2023-24 PTC Therapeutics Premiership here at the Lee Westwood Sports Centre. A game that is one of the first that's marked on the calendars of players, fans, coaches and more. It really is the top game across our National League. Scheduled for a 12:45 kickoff. I'm delighted to be joined on commentary by Greg Baxter. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you, Ryan. You are right, this is the big one. This is your Real Madrid, your Barcelona. This is Man United, Liverpool. This is the one that, as you say, everyone looks forward to. The two heavyweights of the English game going toe to toe, bumper to bumper, in what is always usually a tight affair.
Yeah, let's get into the details. Both of these with strong aspirations of securing the Premiership crown in June. Faultless start to this year's campaign. Aspire played 7, won 7, scored 22, conceded just 2 goals, and that was yesterday to Newcastle United. West Bromwich Albion have played a game fewer, but of their 6 games, they have, of course, won 6 games, scored 25, conceded just once. Now, if we delve a little deeper into the detail of their goal scorers, Marcus Harrison has 6, Dylan Kelsall has 6, Dave Lewis has 5, Matt Gilbert has 4, Chris Gordon has 3, so very much sharing responsibility in attack for Aspire. Dan McClellan leads the pack with 8 goals from their 7 games, Brad Bates with 6, John Balding with 5, Jordan Williams with 3, Bobby Williams with 1. And we've discussed it already, Greg, just for our viewing audience. Should John Balding secure a single strike at goal and register within this game, he would have scored 400 National League goals.
Knowing John, though, I think if he didn't get the goal, that Aspire came out with the 3 points, I think he'd be more than happy with that. These two sides are no stranger to one another. They know what this game means. They know what this game brings. A little hush of anticipation.
Yeah, there is so many players watching, both at courtside and in the mezzanine above. Let's go through the team lineups quickly, starting with the designated home team. They have Chris Gordon as the designated goalkeeper, Matt Gilbert, Dylan Kelsall and Dave Lewis. Aspire, Tom Kelly, John Balding, Dan McClellan and Brad Bates. Such a strong starting 4 from the reigning champions. Paul Pearson, our central referee. Assistant referees of Carolyn Bean and Adam McAvoy. And we are underway. John Balding straight to Dan McClellan on his left-hand side, looking to attack this game early on. Kelsall trying to pass back to Chris Gordon. Very early 2-on-1. Typically the case with these teams, they're all drawn into the ball. They want to stamp their authority on the game. So 2-on-1's relatively common occurrence. Dave Lewis just gets ahead of John Balding. Brad Bates, arguably one of the standout players of game week 2, looking to create something on this right-hand wing for Aspire. The left as you're viewing it. Gordon. Yet another 2-on-1, this time Dan McClellan and John Balding. As mentioned, West Bromwich Albion played a game fewer than that of Aspires. A beautiful pass from Dan McClellan to Brad Bates, cleared off the line from Matt Gilbert.
There, Brad Bates making the claim. He was off the pitch. Matt Gilbert, when he saved the ball.
And that is a huge decision from our referee, Paul Pearson, who deems Matt Gilbert to have left the court in a bid to prevent that opportunity from Brad Bates. So within the first 2 minutes, West Bromwich Albion down to 3 players. John Balding with an opportunity to open scoring at this penalty. Not just that, and score his 400th National League goal. Chris Gordon, his close friend and teammate at international level, has the responsibility of preventing this. Such a huge decision made early on. Our attention was with Brad Bates and the flow in attack. I'd have to watch it back to see if he had left the full pitch. Bowled in, saved by Gordon, but has to be retaken.
2 players that know each other so well. They know each other's games almost inside and out.
Just a little smirk from John Baldwin, feints to the left and slots it behind Chris Gordon. 3 minutes in, the reigning champions have stamped their authority on this game. Not just that, 400 national...
Each other so well. They know each other's games almost inside and out.
Just a little smirk from John Baldwin, feints to the left and slots it behind Chris Gordon.
John Baldwin, 400 goal. I mean, you run out of words to describe the man. Been there, done it. 400 National League goals, just exemplary. Now this is the response from West Brom. They're down to 3 men. We've got only 3 minutes on the clock gone. Dave Lewis goes off, on comes Marcus Harrison. They're going to try and make this game a little bit tighter maybe.
Yeah, if I would have said to you prior to this game that you'd have a penalty and a red card in the first 3 minutes, you would have been absolutely shocked. 2-on-1, Dylan Kelsall and Marcus Harrison not given the necessary 3 metres needed. Let's just go back in history a little bit, because little separates these sides, as history would tell. Last season, just a single goal from Dan McClellan helped Aspire win the overall title. 1-0 that finish, and then you'd have to go back a long way to find a game in which these sides were separated. 0-0 draw, 1-1, 2-1-1 draws in the 21-22 campaign, a 2-2 draw just wide of the right-hand post. That effort from Dan McClellan, but yeah, as I was saying, just prior to the pandemic, these two faced one another. That finished 2-2, so Aspire have the bragging rights in the head-to-head, but typically they're so even. Aspire, no doubt, will be buoyed by that red card and player advantage which they'll have for the majority of this game now, as Marcus Harrison goes into that left-hand wing, sweeps it back. Tom Kelly has to be alert.
Chris just picking up a space off that wall, lines up for 180. Shot.
John Baldwin had the left-hand post covered. Come off his chair nonetheless. Corner kick taken by Marcus Harrison. There's so many players around the court that they have to move to allow Marcus Harrison to take this. It's the exact same this side, as you can very much expect. This is such an eagerly anticipated fixture that everyone wants to be a part of it, whether playing, watching.
One thing I would say, you're hoping that that early red card doesn't spoil what promised to be such a tight game and such a good game. You're hoping that West Brom is still able to have a real good go at this.
Yeah, as I've said, this is a bit silly. Side players that are watching down the other end of the court have to reposition. just to allow Marcus Harrison to take this corner kick, but I'm absolutely gutted for Matt Gilbert. As I said, I'd have to watch it back. Our view is fairly impaired from where we're currently sitting. Whether he had left the court or not, such a difficult decision to be awarded against him so early in the game. Marcus Harrison will finally take the corner kick. Doesn't quite put the power on it, just goes to the side of Gordon. Kelsall now. Holding shimmies and fakes to try and get the better of Gordon. Harrison will without question be one of the busiest players this game. He'll be key to breaking up the Aspire attacks and trying to spearhead something of his own for the four-time champions West Bromwich Albion. Just gets locked up by Brad Bates, who hasn't had too much involvement following that attempted effort at goal in the first minute.
This is what we may see a lot of now from West Brom and Marcus Harrison in particular. Trying to dribble, but yeah, when you're met by John Boulding, really got to try and pass it round. He's got Chris at an angle here, but that pass is straight to Brad Bates and Spire now.
Opportunity, millimetres away from making contact, but unfortunately, due to the circumstances in which West Brom find themselves.
Pass it round. He's got Chris at an angle here, but that pass is straight to Brad Bates and Spire now.
Opportunity, millimetres away from making contact, but unfortunately easily done on that occasion. Boulding into the side of Gordon's chair.
Good pick off there from Dylan Kelsall into Marcus Harrison. A bit of lack of communication there between the two wingers.
Good pass. So many of these players are so familiar with one another's games. Tom Kelly and Dylan Kelsall, the only players that weren't present in the World Cup squad, so they're no strangers to one another. Of course, Dave Lewis on the bench will probably won't feature as much as he may have wanted to, considering that early red card for Matt Gilbert.
Well, yeah, we can consider the fact that there is just World Cup players galore across these two teams.
Yeah.
The experience, West Brom won't panic. Obviously, this is probably the worst start they could have imagined, but they've been there, done that. They've got enough about them to not panic and stay in this game.
Good pass from Boulding, who finds Brad Bates on the right-hand wing. Absolutely superb from Aspire.
They've been there, done that. They've got enough about them to not panic and stay in this game.
Good pass from Boulding,
who finds Brad Bates on the right-hand wing.
Absolutely a sensational weekend, and was without question will be in consideration for standout player of the weekend. He doubles the lead. West Bromwich Albion 0, Aspire 2.
Good old commentator's curse,
It's always the way. As possible, with the inevitability that you're going to lose, or do you try and get back into the game with when Aspire have a player advantage? It's such a difficult decision that he has to make, and we're seeing Aspire pick the passes. You wonder whether they should go into damage limitation and consider that goal difference could play a very considerable factor in the outcome of the season at the conclusion of game week 5.
Personally, I'm of the opinion that goal difference you can claw back in games throughout the season coming up. There's still a lot of football to be played, and by no means am I saying we're obviously expecting that these two teams will go into every game. I've stopped here, John Boulding, one-on-one with Chris Gordon. Tried to flick to find Dan McClellan, couldn't find it, but it's on one in favour of West Brom. Boulding and McClellan too close, yeah. Both these sides, if they can maintain their perfect records up until the next time they play, you know you're going to have to beat them. There's a chance. Just can't quite get round it. With a goal kick, they're going to have to play each other again. You can make up goal difference. It'll be the points that matter. I think if you're West Brom, you still go for it. You know, if you lose 5-6-0, you're still going to lose. What have you got to lose at this point, really?
Absolutely. Harrison with possession. Options on the bench for either side. Obviously, classification will be a consideration for Chris Gordon. They have Logan Mitchelson and Dave Lewis at their disposal. Aspire, unfortunately without Rosie Hodgson, have three options on the bench in Bobby Williams, Jordan Williams and Sally McNeil.
This has been the perfect opening 13 minutes for Aspire. Really has been. Good again, good ball from John Bond. Excellent ball to Dan McClellan.
He was lining up for the shot. It was a crucial touch from Chris Gordon to take it out of the young number 7's path.
I felt he was impeded there as well. Wanted the free kick. Still Bates towards McClellan. West Brom unable to keep hold of the ball. That was just another example there of Aspire's clinical passing. The space is there for them now. Lovely deft touch there from McClellan round Gordon, but Marcus Harrison has it. Battling with Brad Bates. Brad Bates, who spent many a year wearing the West Brom colours, won everything there was to win in the English game. Made that decision at the start of last year to join Aspire. It helped them stop West Brom's dominance and win that league title.
Worth noting that, should it be successfully organised, as Bates has an effort, should it be successfully organised, these will be the two English teams present at the EPFA Champions Cup, scheduled for 2024 in Paris. So they'll be looking to be the first English teams to add that European-based trophy at club level to their cabinets.
That's the next thing for these two sides, is that European glory. That's the thing they're both.
The one thing that evades them. Good work from Dylan Kelsall there. Disappointed with that. I think he just got there in time, but obviously Paul Pearson, an incredibly experienced referee, one of the best in the world, deems that excessive force. Direct free kick will resume play. Bates and McClellan just having a discussion off the ball. Bates will have responsibility of this kick in. Dan McClellan in plenty of room on the edge of the box, and this is where that player advantage is so difficult for West Brom to deal with. Boulding and McClellan just waiting on the edge of the box. Chris Gordon's going to try and drive out, and a pick off the front bumper of Dan McClellan sends it goal bound, cleared. Kelsall has an opportunity to pressure Tom Kelly, who's been fairly untested in this game thus far, as you can very much expect. 3 in the box, I think, signalled by Paul Pearson and Carolyn Bean.
Yeah, just a slip up in communication there. Ball broke between Dan McClellan and John Barding, both racing to get back. And McClellan went in at the near post. John Bowling just creeped in at the far post. Both Bowling and Gordon having words with the officiating crew. Maybe asking for a yellow card for deliberate 3 in the box.
3.5 minutes left to be played. Without question, the most credible opportunity West Brom have had all game to score. Could be huge if they're to get anything from this game. Marcus Harrison having a word with Carolyn Bean on the left-hand side. So many emotions must be running through them, from anger to disappointment to frustration following that red card and penalty. Not to mention that second brilliant goal from Brad Bates, but indirect free kick. Got to keep an eye on the potential counter-attack from Aspire here. If they're not successful. Gordon feints once, twice, shoots at the third time of asking. It took a touch off Dylan Kelsall. And they halved the deficit with 2.5 minutes to go. Absolutely crucial for West Bromwich Albion, who haven't given up. I spoke about that dilemma that Chris Gordon would be facing. Damage limitation or go for points. He's chosen the latter. And potentially game on.
I mean, massive credit to West Brom. Because at 2-0 down, great effort from John Bowling, well saved by Chris Gordon at 2-0 down. A player down as well, you'd think, especially against a team like Spire, that is curtains. I must admit, I was looking at that free kick and I saw no way, with the way they were setting up, that ball was going to end up in the back of the goal, and somehow the faintest of touches from Dylan Kelsall, and it really is game on again. This game is not over at all. Spire have got to be careful. They don't get complacent. And it's down line to McClellan. Picked off by Marcus Harrison. Real credit given to West Brom. I did wonder, I did worry that really early sending off for Matthew Gilbert, if he missed it, off the pitch, behind the goal, denying what would have been a certain goal. Did wonder that might ruin the game, but a substitution, bringing Marcus Harrison on, has worked very well for West Brom. And they are the team that arguably, yes, West Brom are going to leave space at the back, but they've had the majority of territory.
They've certainly got attacking intent, haven't they? Look at how high their players are. Chris Gordon in the Aspire half. It would take one clinical pass from one of the Aspire players, and Marcus Harrison finds the gap in between Tom Kelly and John Bowling with less than a minute to go and levels the tie. This is absolutely incredible, Greg.
Staggering. Staggering. 2-2. I can't believe it. This is exceptional from West Brom, and really you'd have to say sloppy from Aspire. They had the game in their hands. 5 minutes to go. They're 2-0 up. Just bide your time. West Brom have done ever so well. They've really upset Aspire. They've not given up. Just real credit to West Brom. It's been a real gutsy performance. A lot of character shown.
Yeah, full credit to Chris Gordon. Such a brave coach. Has full faith in his players' ability. Don't get me wrong. They've still got to play 20 more minutes, where Aspire will no doubt get a very stern telling off from coach John Bowling. But as we are in additional time, it's West Brom that look the more likely to score. Harrison, possession on the right-hand wing. West Bromwich Albion 2, Aspire 2. We'll recap it in its entirety when Paul Pisson blows the whistle. But the danger still present. Tom Kelly will be disappointed. And that signals the end of the half. Have to take a breather. Let's just go through it very quickly. Matt Gilbert was sending off within the first 2 minutes of play, left the field of play to prevent a clear goal-scoring opportunity from Brad Bates. That, of course, resulted in a penalty, which was scored by John Boulding in the 3rd minute. Brad Bates doubled their lead after 10, and we thought it would be plain sailing from there, and the Spy would go on to score a number more in the half, but West Bromwich Albion managed to counter-attack. Slight confusion in the Aspire defence. 3 in the box infringement, and an indirect free kick was awarded to West Bromwich Albion, in which they converted brilliantly. As Greg said, the way in which they were setting up, it didn't look like a goal-scoring opportunity, but they converted. And seconds before the end of the half, Marcus Harrison scored to level the tie. What are your thoughts on that one then?
How long have you got? And you've got to catch your breath, haven't you? Like you said, 10 minutes gone, 2-0, a player up. You thought, that's unfortunately game over. Credit, I think, not only to all of West Brom, especially the 3 players on the court at the minute, but Chris Gordon, he made that change straight away.
Yeah.
Went down, lost Matt Gilbert's that red card, immediately brought Marcus on, and it's paid dividends. Yes, they went 2-0 down, but he's found, that second goal especially, he's found a ball's width gap between Tom Kelly and John Boulding there, and he has thread the needle.
Yeah, I've just looked back at our stream and the comments on our YouTube channel. A few people have questioned the legitimacy of the first goal of West Bromwich Albion. Obviously, indirect free kick, it has to go via the chair of another player. The angle of the stream, it's not necessarily evident that it made contact with Dylan Kelsall, but I can assure you from the angle in which Greg and I are sitting, it did take the faintest of touch off his back wheel, which Paul Pearson very much acknowledged.
Well, that's why I said. I mean, to be fair, I couldn't see really from here, but we're this side. Paul Pearson is stood right behind.
Yeah,
he has the best view. He is stood right behind. If he's seen us a touch, then that's why he's given the goal.
It was faint,
yes,
but with the letter of the law,
yeah,
it just needs contact.
Yeah,
whether that's a millimetre or a metre of the chair, it made contact and was registered as a goal. So. No, just an unbelievable first half of football here at the Lee Westwood Sports Centre, and I just hope for more in the second.
It's the game we wanted it to be, and after 10 minutes we didn't think we'd get this, but bring on the second half.
Yeah, looking at the squads, I don't suspect Chris Gordon will change it too much. The approach, the tactics, the players in which he selected following that earlier red card have done the job that he would have wanted them to, and he'll be frustrated, yes, but inside he's got to be incredibly proud of that effort.
That was the word I was just about to use. He'll be incredibly proud. He'll know that the job's not done though. That is just first half. They've got to dig deep for another 20 minutes, but that West Brom camp would be a lot happier. That Spy camp, that is for certain. They've really let it out. It's something you don't often associate with the Spy. They've got complacent. It was sloppy. You know, you could talk about the touch. Supposed to touch people in the comments all day long, but the break, the 3 in the box is sloppy. Whether West Brom felt it was deliberate or not,
yep,
that's sloppy. Realistically, you've got 2 players there. You know where the ball's going. Doesn't matter if the ball gets there. You know where the ball's going to go because Marcus Harrison sat on the halfway line. The only place they can put it is to Dylan.
Yeah,
you've got it sloppy. And again, you credit Marcus for finding a balls width gap, but there shouldn't be a balls width gap when it's not like Marcus Harrison is an unknown quantity. We all know what his game was going to be like when he came on. He's proven that. He's dribbling up and down the line, and sense of complacency from Aspire. Really, they thought they had the game wrapped up. West Brom have proven they are not out of this by any means.
No, they're not. They're not. at all, so full credit to them. They'll certainly be the happier the two, even within the context of the game, in what has happened. Just following that second goal for Aspire scored by Brad Bates, they just switched off a little bit. They invited the pressure on. They need to use that player advantage to create the chances. Tom Kelly will be disappointed, as will John Balding, for the part they played in them goals.
John will be letting them know. There is no way John won't be telling that Aspire team right now that last 10 minutes and a half is just completely unacceptable, really. You have to say that. They are playing West Brom, yes. They are playing a team that has one player less, and they were 2 goals up. That last 10 minutes is unacceptable for a team like Aspire.
Should it stay a draw and finish a draw? Bold statement. Do you think that could serve as the catalyst for West Brom, that say even against all of the odds, they were resilient? This could very much spearhead them regaining the Premiership crown, even in game week 2. The confidence that this would give them to go on and pretty much steamroll all opposition. We know how good Aspire are. They won the league, they won the cup last season. That's John Balding and Chris Gordon. Just have a little word off the ball. Obviously, as has been mentioned, such close friends. The partnership that we had the pleasure of benefiting from in Sydney, Greg, it's just so, it's an interesting dynamic when they're separated and they're at domestic level. They can test different teams.
I'd love to be in the middle of that conversation right now. I don't know about you. That is a conversation that is just debating the contentious points in that first half, I imagine. But they'll now break away and go to work. I mean, that was what, all 5 members of the World Cup squad in that centre circle. They'll now do away with friendships, do away with allegiances again, and resume battle.
Yeah, as suspected, West Brom unchanged. Chris Gordon, the designated goalkeeper, Marcus Harrison and Dylan Kelsall. For Aspire, Tom Kelly, John Balding, Dan McClellan and Brad Bates. Early attacking pressure from West Brom, as they're now down this side of the court in which Greg and I are commentating. So should they manage to score, we will be right in front of it.
Johnny's up for the fight now, isn't he?
He really is
up for the fight.
Such a fiery battle between these two. Always, they're talking to each other constantly. As much a physical battle as it is psychological. So, spaces have opened up. Dan McClellan with area to roam into. Yeah, Marcus Harrison needs to be careful. You can see that he's doing his best to break up the play, but we know that the leniency of Paul Pearson, and he won't shy away from awarding cards if it gets a bit overzealous.
Everyone watching at home, strap yourselves in, because this is what the next 20 minutes is going to be like, I think. Just battling, physical contact. All sets of players will be chirping away at each other. Just running into Brad Bates there, turns around on the ball. By Bates again. Comes to Chris Gordon on the edge of the box. Fakes the pass, takes it into the contact.
Typically a game between these two is like chess. You wait for your opposition to show your move, and that's why there's been so many low scoring games, from 1-0s to 0-0s to 1-1. All it took was a red card in the first minute to open up this game. There's been more goals combined in this game than there has in their last 4 or 5 meetings. So I'm sure the viewing audiences is benefiting from the misfortune of West Bromwich Albion, but they don't want anyone to feel sorry for them. And they will no doubt be chasing 3 points against the odds. Harrison once again locked in a feisty battle with Boulding, who gets the better of the West Brom number 4. He has options to his left and right. Marcus Harrison just puts up a shield. Slight confusion, have to be careful here. Dan McClellan in a nice amount of space on the left-hand side. And a sensible clearance from Chris Gordon to just relieve pressure momentarily. Bates into the box, off the front of Harrison's chair, into Gordon. Such an intense battle. Bates takes possession, takes a touch, well flicked by Marcus Harrison, will do well to keep that in play, does so brilliantly. Steamrolls past John Boulding. Paul Pearson had blown his whistle. Excessive force from Marcus Harrison, I think.
Referees are clamping down on that.
I said he'll have little leniency for it, so any further fouls from Marcus Harrison will probably see a yellow card. But that's what they need to do. They need to make it physical. They almost need to win ugly now, West Bromwich Albion. And there, in quick succession, 2 fouls in the last minute. Marcus Harrison, as we thought may be the case, is awarded a yellow card, and now this could be the change and the shift. Marcus Harrison has to be incredibly careful, and that aggression is the reason West Brom have been able to find goals and get back into this game. So keep an eye on that one.
They might just, they might just change the attitude of West Brom as the game goes on. He might carry on as he is for a little bit and get to his final warning. And then, because now, don't forget, now they don't have to chase the game. They have something to hold on to.
Absolutely they do. Absolutely they do. I wonder if he's given any more warnings or is at risk of a red card, whether they look to put Dave Lewis on in Marcus Harrison's plays. Very effective, aggressive player, Dave Lewis, who can do a similar job in breaking up the play and frustrating the opposition. West Brom will not want to go down to 2 players, and that is very much a risk, all the while Marcus Harrison is on the court with that yellow card being awarded a minute or 2 ago. Dan McClellan, Chris Gordon waiting on the edge of the box.
Dan McClellan's got to be careful, he doesn't put any part of that bumper into.
Yes, so
box.
Close, and that's what Marcus Harrison is very much trying to force. The ball's still in play. Whole ball has to leave the entirety of the pitch. The red line down the left-hand side of the court designates the perimeter of the court.
Chance here now for West Brom. Dan McClellan good positioning there, blocks off the pass to Chris Gordon.
This is good work from Marcus Harrison. Really effective work. 14 minutes left to be played. It's a little bit too much pace for him to wrap his chair around. Right intent nonetheless. Chris Gordon has to be careful here as McClellan advances down the left, has options in support, doesn't necessarily have the accuracy on that pass to John Boulding, but as is the quality of Boulding, he can receive it anyway. Bates lets it run across his chair, has an attempt at goal, fired into that right-hand post. I think Dylan Kelsall had the space in between the posts covered, but better from Aspire. It's one of the first chances they've created in about 10 minutes.
First time they've got the ball moving into some space as well, so it's no coincidence there.
Bates doesn't necessarily have the accuracy. Boulding was wanting that just a fraction behind his chair. A little bit of a square ball means Marcus Harrison can readjust.
See if Faze can do it better with the second corner. Again, leaving John Bowden in all sorts of space.
Chance cleared by Marcus Harrison. Second chance and an opportunity for West Bromwich Albion. Too much pace for Dylan Kelsall to catch up to the ball. But had he done so, surely a goal scoring opportunity for the team with 3 players on the court.
You just have to be reminded, West Brom do only have 3 players on the court at the minute. Because they are keeping this game as level as they can. As even as they can.
I would say West Bromwich Albion with 3 players is still better than most 14 players, but not Aspire. So the fact that they're holding their own, they're so brave, and arguably have been the better of the 2 sides. I'll say that quietly though. Brilliant work from Marcus Harrison. John Bowden just trying to instruct Tom Kelly as to where to be best placed to prevent an opportunity. It would be unprecedented if West Brom took the lead here. Red card in the 2nd minute, 2-0 down after 10. So for the fact they got it at a deadlock currently, 2-2 it stands. So finely balanced as Marcus Harrison just patiently waits for Tom Kelly to show his hand. Chris Gordon waiting on the edge of the box to pounce. I will say they're a little bit more conservative than they was in the first half. Look how deep Dylan Kelsall is in the first half. He was a lot braver than he is now, but as you've rightfully pointed out, Greg, they have something to protect now.
As far as West Brom are concerned, they're quite happy just to leave the ball here for 11 minutes. You mentioned earlier this is a chess battle. This is...
Yeah.
It's not pretty by any...
Still in play.
It's not pretty by any stretch of the imagination, but it's still just as fascinating.
It really is. It really is. We've had enough action in this game already, so if he has to be very measured, very patient in his approach, then that's exactly what they need to do. John Bowden desperately trying to break, which he does so, but Marcus Harrison wraps his chair around the ball, and contact that time from John Bowden. Luckily escapes a yellow card. Surely his last warning. One of the most enjoyable games I've ever watched, just on the edge of your seat viewing. I still can't call it.
It really is a just
win, draw, loss for West Bromwich Albion. The champion mentality they've had in this game has been commendable, absolutely commendable. Even if they go on to lose this game, they need to take so many positives from this performance. John Bowden lucky to escape a yellow card there as Marcus Harrison traps it in this corner, guides it towards Tom Kelly, tries to once again wrap his chair around. I said he'd be the busiest player on the court following that red card, and it's very much proven to be the case. His battery is going to be drained at the conclusion of this game. Worth noting that they still have a game to play today. West Bromwich Albion, they face Newcastle United Foundation at 3:05. Newcastle were absolutely superb in an earlier 2-0 win against Sevenoaks, so they'll have confidence. Obviously, West Brom without one of their key players in Matt Gilbert, who will now probably serve a 2 or 3 game suspension.
I just want to say this has been... It may not be pretty. This is one of the greatest solo performances I have ever had the pleasure of witnessing from Marcus Harrison.
It makes you proud to be a part of this division and this league. This is the quality we're kind of projecting to the wider world. Obviously, being present in Australia, Greg, we know how many countries around the world tune in to the WFA National League. And I have no doubt we've got representation from many countries and continents around the world that are absolutely loving this, as are we. 7.5 minutes remaining. West Bromwich Albion 2, Aspire 2. Can they pull off the impossible? I think even a draw would be the impossible for them. Well, cleared initially by Chris Gordon. Bates with possession on the right. Flicked patiently into the West Bromwich Albion defenders. Dylan Kelsall has not been tested in this second half. And all of that credit is owed to Marcus Harrison for fragmenting the Aspire attack. Don't want it to be commentator's curse now as Marcus Harrison takes possession just inside the West Bromwich Albion half. Bates, contact once again.
One thing you've got to say, this 1 or 2 pieces of contact away from Marcus Harrison, changing the complexion of this game.
It absolutely would, and that's why I just want him to be a little bit more measured in his approach. Excessive force this time from Dylan Kelsall, who advances out of his box for the first time this half. They've just adjusted. Now Dylan Kelsall resumes that position as the most defensive of the 3 West Bromwich Albion players, as Bates has a real good goal-scoring opportunity, but superbly defended by Chris Gordon. Arguably Aspire's best chance of the half.
What a pass from Dan McClellan. Just right in my eye line there, and the gap really wasn't big at all, but he found it. Just superb. Need more of that, Aspire. They need the ball loose. I mean, a little bit difficult when Marcus Harrison's the one you're dribbling against, as you just see now. Look at this. Just brilliant. He's driven it all the way up the court.
He's so effective. Such one of the leading players worldwide at dribbling the ball and forcing the ball into uncomfortable areas for the opposition, as was the case 5 or 10 minutes ago. He'll be happy to leave it here.
Marcus Harrison is more than happy just to keep it moving. As long as the ball is moving, it will still be in play.
Of course. Didn't take a touch off John Bolden's chair, so a goal kick will resume play.
Last 5 minutes. I don't have a horse in this race, so to speak, and I am incredibly nervous. I'm on the edge of my seat watching this.
Good play from Dan McClellan. Didn't shy away from the physicality of that contact with Marcus Harrison. Full credit to the 14-year-old.
And they just G up Aspire a little bit of noise. Stands. Well read by Marcus Harrison. Here we go again.
Chris Gordon in support. Just weaves to the left-hand side, the right of John Bolden. Slight confusion amongst Chris Gordon and Marcus Harrison as Aspire, who have just struggled to pick their passes and use the full court to their advantage. Brilliant control from Marcus Harrison. It'd be a bitter pill to swallow for either of these sides if someone was to go on to score a goal and take 3 points. Marcus Harrison has to be careful there. Quickly taken free kick. And a second bit of contact. Not giving John Bolden the space to take that free kick. Very lucky to escape a red card. Not a single bit of contact more will be tolerated by Paul Pearson. 3 minutes to go. Opportunity from Brad Bates on that right-hand wing. It's almost as if John Bouldings is inviting the ball into areas in which Marcus Harrison has to be forceful in his approach. Because at the moment, it looks like it's going to take West Brom to get a player sent off for Aspire to find a way through them three resolute players. Contact from Marcus Harrison. No appeals from either player, so play continues. Rolls out of play. Just over 2 minutes left to be played.
My word.
One of the most incredible games of power chair football I have ever watched. Boulding down the court to McClellan. Contact off the ball. Allowed to continue by Paul Pearson. Almost a 50-50 between Dan McClellan and Dylan Kelsall. Can Marcus Harrison wrap his chair around the ball? He does so brilliantly. I will say Brad Bates was superbly positioned there to make it as difficult as possible for Harrison. Minute and a half left to be played.
Oh, Marcus is... No, he's driving on a tight... He's on a tight rope at the minute.
Advantage played. Contact off the ball from Dan McClellan, I believe.
Just under 90 seconds left.
This is where they need to be sensible. Just try and lock it up in this bottom left-hand corner. Don't give away anything. It's appeals from the Aspire substitutes. As suspected, neither have looked to their bench across this 40-minute game. We're now into the final minute, and John Boulding will be lucky to escape a yellow card there. Second or third foul from the Aspire captain. I think they need to understand that Marcus Harrison has been very lucky. He's had a number of chances in which he could have been sent off, so they need to take that into consideration when they're appealing for this yellow card for John Boulding.
Marcus needs to be careful he doesn't say something that gets himself sent off, because he is on...
What I will say is he's managed to wind down the clock with now 25 seconds remaining. And this is just delaying proceedings kicking off once again. We've had the regulation 20 minutes and are into additional time. Arguably a minute, maybe two could be added on by Paul Pearson. A number of fouls, number of stoppages in play, but that is played into West Bromwich Albion's hands, who have fragmented this Aspire attack, who have been fairly toothless in this second half, and certainly since they scored their second. They'll be more disappointed than anyone, but full credit to West Bromwich Albion, particularly Marcus Harrison. This would be, as mentioned, a truly unprecedented point if they're able to get it over the line. Still football left to be played. West Bromwich Albion 2, Aspire 2. West Brom down to 3 players within the first minute of play. Trailed by 2-0 after 10 minutes, and that is a huge point as Paul Pearson blows the whistle for full time. One of the most spectacular games of power chair football you will ever watch. The tension in the Lee Westwood Sports Centre was palpable. You could cut it with a knife. Aspire looks slightly deflated, as do West Brom. But what a game. It leaves the title race wide open. Arguably plays into Teesside's hands, who have had a sensational weekend overall. But what a game.
That was just a privilege to watch. It had absolutely everything. Goals, red cards.
Let's go through it. Red card, Matt Gilbert. Penalty, John Boulding, which was also his 400th National League goal. Aspire then started to play some really nice football. Scored their second through Brad Bates after 10. And then it looked like it was plain sailing for the current champions. Dylan Kelsall with the faintest of touches, half the deficit after 18 minutes. Marcus Harrison with seconds to go in the first half, and then it was the chess match that we suspected it would be in the second. No real action to speak of, just fantastic football, particularly Marcus Harrison.
That is, I said it before, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, solo performances I've ever seen. Marcus Harrison, just credit to Chris Gordon, he made the sub right away. He locked that game down. He dragged West Brom from the brink. They had nothing, they had no right to get anything out of this game, West Brom. Absolutely no right. And yet, they've drawn 2-2 with 3 players against Aspire.
And I said a point from that game could really serve as the catalyst for their season. The mentality that they showed within that 40 minutes is worthy of any title-winning team. And incredible work, absolutely incredible work. Commiserations to Matt Gilbert. He must be so upset and frustrated at that decision that was made just over a minute into the game. But my God, he'll be so proud of his teammates, and they will build on that now. If they're able to secure 3 points against Newcastle United later on this afternoon, for me, they can only take positives from game week 2 as they look to dethrone Aspire. But
Aspire will be absolutely gutted.
They will be.
That will feel like a defeat. That will feel horrible.
Unfortunately, they just run out of answers, and not even that, because again, it's down to Marcus Harrison breaking up the play. Take Marcus Harrison out of the equation, and it could have been a cricket score. Could have very much been a cricket score, and I don't want to do Chris Gordon and or Dylan Kelso a disservice, but it was that number 4 that got them back into this game, and full credit to him for that.
Just exceptional. Like I said, it was a privilege to watch. It was that first half was the comeback. The second half was just the minute or two. The ball was just jostling around here in front of us. I couldn't keep my eyes off it. It was one of the best games of Premiership football you are ever likely to see.
Anyway, thank you to all that have tuned in. We've had some really encouraging numbers on the stream. Thank you to all that have watched, that have contributed, that have commented, and we really hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Just a few final games in game week 2, but hopefully more of the same.
We'll try our best.
Thank you all. From myself, Ryan Sipple, and my good friend and co-commentator Greg Baxter. We'll see you all soon.